Hello, 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 everyone. Today here we are in a new chapter in our life, the Outs of the Box, and we have a new topic for this night: the Hello World 2.0, effective learning strategies for software development. And today to talk to discuss about it, here I have Sila. How are you doing, Sila?
I am fine, thank you. Danilo, thank you for having me here. So, looking forward to this conversation today.
Oh, that's amazing. It's going to be a nice conversation about it, the process of learning, right? And
Right.
also Pedro is joining us. Hello, Pedro. How are you doing?
Hello, Danilo, hello, Sila. Well, this is a very interesting topic. We are always learning, right? And I think it's been a while that I wrote my first Hello World. It's it's been quite a while, but but yeah, it's Hello World is always a very important piece of our life in software development. So I think it's going to be a very good conversation today.
Oh, that's interesting that you mentioned that it's been a while that you did your first Hello Words. And I don't know about Sila, but how was that? How
Mhm.
was your first Hello Word?
Oh, it's a long time ago. Um, I think that was when I started to learn Java, you know, and then at the time we only had books. So, and I bought a book named Java in 21 days. And then I started to work through the book. And maybe that was the first time when I just wrote my first Hello World application, because this is the simplest application you can write and to check that everything is working. So I think that was the first time.
Oh, that's amazing. And it was in Java?
I think it was in Java, yes.
Yes.
Although
Oh,
I started earlier with some other programming languages, but I think that the Hello World that came a little bit later. And it's always a good test if you are starting in a new technology or a new language to test if everything is, the setup is working. So you can build it and something happens.
yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Mainly when you are starting something new, right? But I don't know. And you, Pedro, how was your experience in your first Hello World? You mentioned that it was also in some years ago. How was that?
Some years ago, some many. Yeah. But I think before I talk, we have understand that man. We know you always here with us, so thank you so much for your audience here. And Andrew to say his first Hello World should have been Pascal, like 1995. Wow,
Whoa.
it's really been a while. Yeah, I think. Oh, I can say that my first real award was in a in a proprietary language in uh, from the University of Pará. I'm from Belém, right? So it's from north of Brazil, and there I think I was like 13, and they created a language. It's called Simple, but it's in Portuguese, so it was Simples, right? And my first real word was with that language. Say, oh, escreva, so write
Mhm.
hello world, so, and write oh hello world. In my case, escreva olá mundo, and it worked there. It was like a Turbo Pascal. No, it was like a basic, something like basic, but it was in Portuguese, and then I think that was my first Hello World. Uh, but actually, when I really started to programming in university, it was in C.
Oh, nice.
We were talking about here that the first hello world. We are looking here in Google that the first used they know about Hello World was in a 1972 book from Brian Kernighan, An Introduction to the Language B. So yeah, Hello World is quite an important moment.
Yeah.
Every time when I was a teacher, a Java teacher, like 2010, uh, my the first class was an introduction to Java. You say, oh, about Java and everything about Java and discussing and why Java is good, and then the end of the class was everyone needs to write his first hello world. So the first class was like, okay, everybody here have written his hello world, so everybody now can call themselves programmers. And
Yeah.
it was like the high moment of the
Yeah.
class. I said, yeah, everybody, yeah. Oh yeah,
Did,
thank
did
you
it
so
work?
much.
How was that? Did it
Yeah,
work?
yeah, it worked. It's like it was like it was like the moment that people say, "Oh, night, we are talking here about programming," but we actually started doing something. The first time we go to a computer and make everything something run, it was like Hello World in Java in my case. When I was, so all the class like getting that a moment of ecstasy. So yeah, we are programmers, so now we are starting. Hello, Douglas. How are you, man?
Are you able to hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't hear y'all. That was the problem.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah, I kept jumping in, and I see y'all talking, and just nothing coming through the ears. So, uh, trying to figure out what's going on with that. I narrowed the problem down, and so I could hear you, but I'm still curious as to why I'm had a problem with the way it was configured. So,
No, we are good. We are good now, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice,
Mhm.
nice to have you here.
Well, I didn't know if I was going to make it or not, so we'll see. No one's yeah. Not
Yeah.
hearing from anybody, so like I said, was expecting a call. Call didn't come in. I'd be here.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here, man.
Thanks.
Of not today we're going to talk about learning. So, and we know you've been
Yeah.
instructor like for many years, so your,
Yeah.
your experience will be very, very valuable to us. Well, let me just call again the people from the comments here. Hey, Mary Rib, hello, Mary Rib. Nice to see you here with us. Andres Alcahar is here. The predecessors of C, yeah, language B, before predecessors of C.
Mhm.
1972, it's been a while. Pedro Pavesi, olá, olá, hello Pedro. Hey, nice name, man. Like your name. And
And
Max, hey
nice
Max,
meeting you.
hello.
And
Thanks to be with us here.
if you are watching us, send us what was your first hello words. What was your programming language that you did that, you know? And Douglas, how about you? How was your first hello words when you were starting to learn programming language?
So in the mid '90s, my first Hello World was in C++.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I was about 11 or 12 years old when I wanted to learn to program, and when I told my dad that, he's like, "All right, well, here's a book on C++ because you're going to learn a real language first before you jump into anything else, because then everything else will be easy."
Oh,
Well,
nice. I, I,
he's right he's right in some level, yeah.
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 And I say I love C++. Do you like C++, Lucas?
Oh, I'm going to tell you that you always use the right tool for the job, right? And when I first learned to program, one of my first projects, I did play with a bunch of languages to try to get this to work right. But in the end, it wound up actually being it wound up that I needed to use C++ against the straight Win32 API to get what I wanted to work performantly on a 486 with 64 megabytes of memory. So yeah, I mean, I did a good bit in VB in Visual Basic. So Visual Basic 4, Visual Basic 5. I remember when ActiveX first came out. That was a huge deal in the Visual
Next,
Basic world, and then also in the web browser world too. I mean, it opened up a whole slew of security problems, but
yeah.
I actually was at a a satellite broadcast event in Austin, Texas, when they were talking about VB5 and ActiveX. I mean, I actually remember that. So, uh, yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
nice. You know,
I was a kid. My dad took me with him.
one interesting thing that I can see here is that everyone here learned the first hello word by reading a book. Sila mentioned the 21 days with Java. Pedro also
Java in
commented.
21 days, yeah.
Yes, Pedro also commented that he learned with some books, and even Douglas. And how about today? Today we have internet, we have a lot of information over there. How is the process of doing the first hello words today? How do you think? What do you think about it?
Well, I think it's changed a lot. Like, I mean, the thing is that um, back then it really was the internet. If you remember, what was it? Yahoo or Lycos, one of them. The internet was they were a directory, not a search engine. It was a directory.
Yeah,
You clicked on the category of site you wanted, and you went down, and there
you
were so
found
few sites that you could
right
actually just
side.
like scroll through, hit the button where you were trying to
Mhm.
go. So, I mean, the internet was way different. The only thing that we had back then that may have been a little bit helpful is that we had IRC, Internet Relay Chat, and we also had there's one other thing I'm thinking of, um, Usenet. We had Usenet, the old news groups. But
Mhm.
as a kid,
There
I
in
found
US.
that they were really dangerous to walk through. You just say the least little thing, and someone would go off on you. And so I just kind of I didn't really get involved in that. But nowadays, what's really cool is that you could go on to YouTube, you could search Google, you could even ask ChatGPT how I get started, and tell it where you're at, and it can give you a roadmap with maybe even some specific resources for the direction that you should go in. The problem is, and this is what I've seen with people trying to teach themselves programming nowadays, is the proliferation of experts out there that will teach you how to program. Some will charge you, some will not charge you. The problem is that what people don't understand when they're jumping into this is that everyone is just a human being with their own opinions, even of how you should start. And maybe some are more correct than others, and some have more experience teaching than others. There's a difference between entertaining you, so keeping your eyes on a video while they're showing you code, and actually having you learn something from that video, actually produce something new because of that video. And what happens is, I think a lot of the good entertainers get a lot of attention, and the people that actually can teach you, it's a little bit more difficult because they're going to want you to do hard work. And of course, people want to feel like they're doing something a lot of times, and if they can feel like they're doing something without the hard work, then they feel like they're even doing better than if they actually did the hard work. The problem is that you got to do the hard work. Like they say, you could watch years worth of gourmet cooking, but you're not a gourmet cook until you actually get in there and start making stuff, and prove that you actually know how to cook. So, and make something people will eat. That's the most important part. They're gonna want to eat your food, not just uh, yeah. So that's the big thing even about today is I think that there's a huge challenge out there because there's so much information out there. is the reason why. And then nowadays, it's not like you have a couple of languages that you learn. You could get into web development using anything. What's a Python? Sure, go for it. You want to use JavaScript all the way from the server all the way up to the browser?
The
Yeah, go
browser.
for it. You want to do SQL? Maybe you want to do a document database, which feels more like JavaScript, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it's just there's just so many different facets. Do you want to do game development? Do you want to do .NET and do like mobile development, or do you want to actually do Swift and Java and Android? And go that route. I mean, so the thing is that if you're starting out today, you need to sit down with someone who knows and can talk to you about what you really want to try to do and kind of get you on one path that you don't like dart across all of them. Because if you're a beginner and you dart across everything, you'll never learn anything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's pretty cool. It really,
Yeah.
really true. Well, let's just call here again the people from the comments. We are having lots of comments today. It's really cool. Uh, well, Max here is saying, we're talking about hello world, yeah? Like an echo command could be considered hello world command. Yeah,
Actually, that
yeah, you
could.
can.
That really could.
Yeah,
You got the
good.
computer to do something.
Yeah.
For sure. It's a bash script or bat, like
Yeah, the old bat
in
files. Yeah.
Windows. Yeah. So I remember when I used echo command with HTTPC by using DOS. Exactly. Well, my first moments of writing something like code was using DOS bat commands. You saying if else. The first time I used an if else was in a bat command. It was not a exactly else. It was if error level something and whatever.
Yeah.
But and Andre saying here today guy may not understand how learning programming from a book is. It almost makes no sense today with online more interactive courses.
I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know if that's true. I actually don't know if you should shun books. This thing's in my face, like I'm looking at it's cutting my. um, but the thing is that is like but no, the thing is
Trying
that
to shut you up, right?
yeah, it's like let us talk. No, the thing is with books is that there actually is an advantage to books, right? A video is just going to keep going on, right? And you can always rewrite it and go back. But a book, you can just look at it and it's talking about stuff, and you can stop when you want to stop, and you can look back up a couple of sentences, and you can read it again. And it's a little bit different of a modality. So let me put this out there. Let me
It's more
pose this to the
active, right?
audience, right? Learning through multiple modalities. So, talking about like video, talking about interactivity, talking about books. The more modalities that you learn something through, the more different ways it has a chance of getting locked into your brain. And it really depends on the person learning. I can't tell you if you learn better from books or if you learn better from video. Personally, I learn better from audio. So you put some audio, and so that's why where video comes in handy. But it's really the audio for me. I have an easier time learning from audio. But I'm going to tell you, there are times where I've heard some audio, and I'm like, I need to go look at the words. Let me get a transcript here because I need to understand. I need to read this and hear it at the same time, and
Mhm.
see what they're
Mhm.
what they're trying to say. Literally, see what they're trying to say.
See what the trend exactly. Some my memory was always like this. When I remember something, I remember the images. So if I just have an audio, I would learn anything. I wouldn't learn anything because this,
Yeah.
in my case, it's like I need to have some image. But sometimes when I remember when I was young and I remember the stuff for the tests or his exams in the high school. I remember that page. I
You saw the
remember the
words on the page when
sentence
you were getting ready to answer the
Yes.
question. Me, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
I
So
had times where I do
that
that too.
So but this is when I started understanding more about it, is understanding that this idea of modalities, right?
Hmm.
So we need to we have something that is better for us, of course, but there are, but we not, even if you have like, if you are in your best modality, it's better to have more
That's right.
to create this to create the links in your brain, right? So interesting. Say, he said that it makes no sense. Actually, it makes a lot. It still makes lots of sense. There are many topics today that instead that I go to YouTube and try to find a video, I go to Kindle and try to find a book,
Yeah.
because we have a more condensed information in a book. Of course, we need to find good books, right? We still we
You
do
still have
still
that
have
the proliferation of authors.
it's like the same proliferation we have everywhere. We have in books as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you find the good ones, uh, we can find it in a more condensed form. So for me, it's good. But we know that that's why we have to have this all these
Mhm.
modalities.
Yeah. One, one,
Wow, we still have lots of comments here.
yeah. One interesting thing about this topic, Pedro, that I could remember is that, sometimes when I want to learn something, I try to find a video on YouTube, but just to understand, not go deeply on that. But and when I see that, oh, I want to go deeply on it, I will find a book for that. So I see
Mhm.
today that, oh, if you want to go deeply in any kind of topic or learn something, for
Uh-huh.
me, reading a book or even an audio book that works fine for me, it's essential to that. Actually, it takes a lot of much more time reading a book and things like this than just watching a YouTube video that has 1 hour, and then you think that you are going to become an expert on that. But that's not true.
Hmm. Yeah, Andres is saying something very interesting here. But I think before Andres, we still have like some other comments before that. And they say you can't learn just from watching; you need to practice. Yeah, I think we're gonna talk about practice later, right?
Right. Well,
Pedro
that was
Pedro
in
say
response to
good.
the cooking thing, right? You can't cook if you can't be a gourmet cook unless you actually go do the cooking. You can't just watch. That's what we were talking about. That's when that comment came in. I remember seeing it.
Yeah, when we're gonna, let's talk about that a little further. Pedro is
Yeah,
saying here. I fortunately don't speak English. Oh, but you do, man. I am
You
PCD and I
print it
have
out.
46. Yeah, you're talking here. I started programming a year ago and I never worked in IT. I started with Java. Yeah, starting with Java is a very tough way to start. So, but yeah, Java is a great challenge. I
yeah,
completely agree. So, well, man, don't stop, man. Don't stop. First should saying what's up, and Andrews is say YouTube would be the last choice for me. What do you think about that? I think this is a very strong,
Mhm.
That's a strong take. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, my personal opinion, Danilo, you actually said the exact thing that I think too, which is that to get a really good understanding of what something is, I think YouTube is actually a really good place to have them give you the 30,000 foot overview or even the 15,000 foot overview. You can get a lot of stuff out of there. And in today's, like with our technology today, in Safari on my Mac, I can copy the code examples right out of the video. You pause the video in
Oh,
Safari, and
really?
you just you select the
whoa,
code, copy it out, and paste it. I mean,
Whoa! I never tried
so
that.
there's a lot of interesting things going on with being able to use video, but the um, the main thing is that allergies are bad. That's not the main thing though. Um, the main thing about YouTube is that I think it really is a good first stop. You want to go in depth, get a course. You want to go you want to interactivity is that's a really hard one too. The interactive course idea, because I've seen people claim interactive course and it really is not it's not very helpful. The interactivity is not as helpful as you would hope it would be. And we'll talk more about practice later, but I think it comes
Yeah.
under how should you practice? And I think that sometimes the interactivity is it kind of hurts it a little bit. But uh,
What you talk,
I-
what you talk about? What is interactivity for you here?
so like there's courses out there that'll if you look at Free Code Camp is one of them, right? If you go to Free
Mhm.
Code Camp, there it's a great resource. There's so many awesome
Great
videos and
resource.
people
Love
just
it.
put stuff out there for people. There's also a lot of stuff being put out there. But on the Free Code Camp sites, you go in and they ask you something about how do this with this one CSS thing, right? And it's a little box and you just do the thing, but that really isn't teaching you how to use it in context of what you're going to need to be using it with. And so I think that there's a little bit of an issue with sometimes when you hear the claim of interactivity, there's a specific kind of interactivity I would look for in a course to
Mhm.
say that it's actually a really really good interactivity. Hey Bruno.
Hey Bruno.
Mhm.
Hey everyone, how you guys doing? So I think I arrived here in the right time to talk about interactivity in courses. I think I thought that's a great moment. So I'm just gonna apologize because I only have a few minutes. I'm actually here to we had a
I think you're having
we
audio.
run
Yeah,
the
there you
whole
go. You're
day
back.
against the time. Yeah, we run the whole day against the time here today, and so we are right on time at the airport. So I couldn't join earlier. But look, my opinion, right, in terms of interactivity, is that if you have a course or a mentor or anything that you're doing that you can actually have the option to talk with people, right, real people, not only watching videos, right? You have to have the option. It could be on text, it could be on a Discord group. There's all kinds of ways for you to do that. But if you have the opportunity to talk with people, right, job of that, but you should have a chance to actually talk with people because look, the problems that you're going through, the difficulties that you're having, they are unique, right? You sometimes you don't understand the perspective, you don't understand the things that's going through with you. For example, sometimes you're not very sure about exactly how to deal with a problem, right? Or your problem is slightly different. So if you don't have an option to talk to someone, if you don't have an option to really and so the other person can understand your situation, it's very hard for you to have like a material that magically gives you the answer that you need, right? So when you're looking for a course, you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for anything like this, be sure that you have the options, to talk to someone, to explain what you're going through, and then have this conversation. Now, uh, uh, one thing I want to say is that you know a lot of times you have this option, right? You are in a course, there's something that you have this option to really talk to someone, and then you don't use it, right? And then I think it's just going to waste of opportunity, because in reality, what you really need is that once you have this opportunity, once the course gives you this kind of interactive,
Oh,
Yeah, looks like we lost
go
Bruno.
ahead and every single time you have a chance question.
Yeah, I think we may have lost Bruno.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah.
He has got
I think
he
I
is.
think
He's
yeah.
at an airport.
yeah, he's walking through an airport. But I think what he was saying is actually really valid, which is that the interactivity. So that's actually really interesting because Um, even video courses that you buy on Udemy, if the author has done enough of these notes to create some kind of community that you can join through their
Hmm.
Discord or Slack channel or something where you can ask other people that may be further along how they solved a
Hmm.
problem and maybe even be able to interact with the author at certain times too. So I mean
Hmm.
there is a little bit of that. So that's actually that's really something to look for when you're trying to decide if you're going to buy a course or not. The only thing the only thing that I would say, in addition to that interactivity, is that if you're truly beginning at this point, um, the thing is that you really want to have the map drawn out. Like you don't want to just try to just go toward anything without having some help to draw that map out. The map is so important because if you don't know where you're going,
Uh-huh.
right?
Mas
If you
na
don't,
pensei
if
a
you,
roadmap.
if you don't have the roadmap and you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there.
Oh yeah,
And
exactly.
here comes the mentor, the mentor that can help you with that, right?
Right. Right. Always have
Yeah.
someone, and who could be that mentor is interesting because I want you to think about something. I was in martial arts for a good few years and went all the way up through black belt. And so the thing that I learned from martial arts is that if you're a yellow belt, you just got done testing your white belt kata, the form for your white belt. You're probably it's really in your head and you could show people who are white belts how to do their kata. You know a little bit
Mhm.
more than they do. And that's what they did in our classes. When we had classes and we broke out into groups, they didn't have black belts at every belt that was in there. They took people who were that were proficient in the belt that they were in and said teach the lower belts their kata. Just teach
Mhm.
one belt lower, teach the belt, teach them their kata. And it was good experience because not only are you helping people who just came into class or who are one level lower than you in belt, you are also learning your kata. You're learning the kata from that belt. So when I don't know if this happens in all the styles, but I know that when I tested for my black belt, I was required to demonstrate every single kata in my style, every single
Mhm.
kata in my style, and all of our forms, our promise sparring, everything. It had to all be in my head, and I had to demonstrate it and I had to do it for 5 different black belts before they even tested me.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to say that because they had us, all throughout the time showing lower belts their katas, it always stayed. We always had to know our katas anyway, but it wasn't a big deal to go remember the kata because you were always doing your lower belt katas. Always. Because you were
Mhm.
teaching, and the teaching was helping you learn.
Yeah, and this is a very important stuff, right? We how much we learn when we read, when we listen, when we practice, and when we teach,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
of course we can find this in the internet, like anywhere. And say, oh, teach is when you learn the most, right?
Yeah.
I've done like teaching. I was te- I teach Java for more than 15 years now, and
Wow.
I remember that there is the first time that I teach, I you are very nervous because you say, "Oh my God, I don't know everything to," because and what if my students ask me something that I don't know, and then we get nervous. But of course, during these years, we start getting all kinds of questions. We start understanding all kinds of doubts, what kind of things that people get wrong mostly, right? And then improve it. What you do for you, you start getting much more and more and more uh, ground. How can I say that in English? You have this more and more settle in your mind, right? So this that
Yeah,
I don't know
go ahead.
the correct word on that, but this is the that's
Solidifies
the
more.
point.
The more you do it, the
What?
more it solidifies in your mind.
Yeah, solidify, exactly. I was
Yeah.
thinking of bricks, but that's the idea, and this is very very important. And when you say, oh, the yellow belt can help the white belt, it's exactly that, right? So the
Yep.
yellow belt thinks, oh, I know the kata of white belt, but then the white belt asks something to the yellow belt and the yellow belt said, oh, never thought about the white kata,
Yeah.
right? And then he start testing, doing, practicing more, right? And then you can learn. Yeah. Wow, there is lots of comments here. Who want to start?
Yeah, I think
Hey,
first
we
should
got some
mention
here,
something
Daniel.
really interesting here, right? He mentioned about who is starting beginning level. So is that we don't have someone to guide us, so you can see a lot of beginners going front, then back,
Yep.
then mobile, and after some time find his stack finally. So and this is normal, you know. This is something that always happens. Actually, it happens to everybody that is on the beginning, right? And it's part of the process
Try
of
everything.
learning new things, and find that field that it fits with your profile.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely that the organization, right, is the is the main thing. And there are people that try to put these roadmaps out there. If you search for beginning web development roadmap, you'll find also the problem is there's a proliferation of opinion on that, and that's what everyone needs to understand. It's an opinion of the people that you see who wrote that, and sometimes it's not even a real well thought out opinion, because some people put websites together that are strictly out there to grab SEO, search engine optimization. They want to be, at the top of the list whenever someone searches for something, so that they can show you ads. So they might have some generic article in there about roadmaps for learning programming that really isn't the best one. It's like the wild west out there on the internet a little bit. It always has been, but it's even more now. You never know why. Or it's even worse, there's actually, like, look at all these free resources, but I actually recommend you go with this one that's not free, and it's because they're paying them a cut of the price of the course. So that's like some website that they act like they're talking about, when I was trying to learn to program, I did, or I'm trying to learn to program too, and I did this and this and this and this, but this was the thing that helped me. But it really is a marketing site, and it's actually a paid advertisement, and you don't even realize that you're looking at a paid advertisement. So
Mhm.
the thing is, I would say, is you have to discern who your sources are, right? Look at uh, I mean, you know what? Out of everything I've said, the thing is that Free Code Camp does actually it. It's a good resource for kind of telling you the roadmap for web development, but I'm not sure that if you did just the things that they do in their interactive stuff, that it would get you there. But it gives you the overall view that then you could go jump in and go, oh, I want to get more in depth into HTML and CSS and JavaScript. And then you could do that and just do things on the front end, and then go, okay, I want to do some back end stuff, and then find something that they even have. Okay, so here's something interesting, y'all. I don't know if you're gonna like this or not, but because all of my Java friends around here, but on Free Code Camp now, you can actually go through C# training and get a C# certification through Free Code Camp and Microsoft.
Wow, nice.
It's a certificate. Yeah, it's Microsoft and Free Code
Mm-hmm.
Camp
Uh-huh.
put that together, and there's tons of learning material on C#. The only thing that if you do ever want to go down the C# path, and this is to the beginners out there that may be listening to this, look for something that's going to teach you from the beginning stages on the latest version of C#, because
Mm-hmm.
that language has really
Changed.
gone through a lot of changes over over the years. And like, honestly, with me, I spent the first 15 years of my career in C sharp, even taught C sharp. But being out of C sharp for about 5 years, I'm looking at it going, I'd go through a beginning course right now just to get like someone I don't know any C sharp anymore is what and I would just go in with that mindset of teach me from the beginning because I want to understand. I'm not even going to try to just fit all the new syntax and everything they put in there. Just show me what you're going to show new people now, so I understand how you're teaching it to people.
Wow,
That's
that was so different now. This is because Java. Okay, I can say that I don't work with Java since Java 11, but if I see Java 21 today, well, it's not that different, right? There's some syntax stuff, but they're not that different. C Sharp has. I know that Microsoft has not the same. They don't think about say we need to be heterocompatible, or we need to think of our how are people that already knows how do you know this new thing here. They just do what they think is better for the language, different from Java. That's why Java like took so long to change, right?
yeah. One
Yeah,
thing
there
that
is. Well, we still have lots of comments here.
one thing that I was thinking about, for when you begin to coding, is something like similar to when you want to play football. You know, you don't choose your position. You just need to learn to play football, and then you choose your position. So something like you must first you must to learn to software development, and then you choose your position if you want to go to backend or front end or even I don't know, maybe cybersecurity and things like that.
Oh, yes, having some basics in all those areas, and then you understand more what you want or what you like to do. So
That's a good point.
if you have a formal education, then you have got different courses, of course, and then from each course you get something, and then later you can decide where you would like to specialize yourself. Or
Talking about specialization, George talked here, give you a comments here that he got several certifications, just by watching and learning from Free Code Camp, and it was an amazing material. And we even got another question from First Shield that he's just started learning Java for in the last 3 months, and he's thinking about taking a certification for beginners. What do you think about certifications and things like this?
Uh,
Let me just take a look at which this certification is. This
well, I
eight
can
one
I
one.
can I can talk about certification for a minute. Um, the real thing about certification, and I don't know from the Java side, because I have a feeling that there's a lot more reverence for certifications on the Oracle Java side than probably in the .NET world. But I'm going to tell you something. When I'm sitting in
Ah,
a am I coming through?
sorry.
Oh, okay. I just want to be sure. I've been talking in silence, but when I've been sitting if I'm sitting in a meetup and someone comes up to me and they're like, I haven't even gotten my first job, as a software developer or anything yet, and they're like, I'm an AWS enterprise solution architect. I got my certification, and I got my this certification and that certification and all these certifications, and I sit there and I'm like, the problem with certifications is that it's not like a degree from a college, right? It's not proving that you did 4 years of work and stuck with it and all of this stuff. Some of them are a little harder to attain as far as certifications than others. But let me put this out there. What the certification is supposed to do is certify that in your experience, you have the knowledge in that certification. with your experience. The whole idea of having these uh, certification prep courses that they make money off of selling you basically things that are, these things are really close to the answers, or they're trying to teach you exactly what's in there from a memorization standpoint. That's not what the spirit of a certification is. It really is trying to show, look at my 20 years of experience, and inside my 20 years of experience, Oracle says that I know this and this and this and this and this, and Microsoft says I know this and this and this and this and this. But it should not be the thing that you think is going to get you the job. Now, what's the Java side say on this?
Yeah. Well, in the 2010s years, or in 2000 years, Java was pretty high on giving certifications importance, right? So the when at that time, if you don't didn't have a certification, you almost didn't get any job in Java, right? And people say, oh, you need to have the Java professional, Java certified professional certification, Sun certified Java professional. I remember that I did lots of this, and then suddenly people realize exactly what you said, and people start getting the certification just by memorizing stuff, right? And memorizing the questions of the certification,
Yeah,
and well, not exactly what the problem, right? The idea is, okay, you have experience, so you know how the thing's going, but it's not. People start memorizing the certification. Then, if you memorize thing, everyone could get a certification, and then the certification suddenly drops out and say, okay, if everybody can get certification, what the point, right?
right, right,
And it's still the same today, because when we get, I'll say, oh, these certifications. Uh, the idea is, okay, what they can show today, they can show that you study for the certification, because that certification is not easy to get, right? But it's not does not show you know how to program in Java, for example, right? They show you study it, the certification. And there are, of course, there are lots of stuff that you just learn if you study for a certification, because there are like details in the language that you don't see in your real life, but in the certification they ask you about that small detail of the language.
and some of them are ridiculous, right? Some of the
Yeah,
details
exactly.
are ridiculous. I mean, it's just, you know, you go in and like, hey, I've solved problems for 15 years in this language, and you're gonna ask me this question? Like, no, it's never come up to use this aspect of it. So, quite literally, the problem is you do have to study for those certifications, but I'm just saying that they don't have the weight. If you have zero experience in field and you have an AWS, cloud architect certification, I'm going to really question how you, in every way, how you know about architecture, other than what you've read in a book. Because what you've read in a book is theory. Going and doing, again, that's the cooking thing, right? So really
Yeah,
what they're doing in these certifications, a lot of them, there are some that do simulate like real life. I've heard that like some of the Windows certifications, you actually use a simulator to like something goes wrong and you have to figure out what it is or something like that. Those are kind of good. But I mean,
yeah,
if
that's
you're
good.
answering multiple choice questions, then what it's showing is that you know how to read a book and memorize some things. It doesn't show that you actually have done something with it, even though that's really what it's supposed to do.
Right. And it looks like I got disconnected.
No, you are here.
You're
Okay.
back. You're here.
Okay. So yeah, so this is the point. If someone asks me, for beginners, oh, is that good to study for certification in Java? I say no, it's not that good. I would say go do it, go
Hmm.
practice, and you get and it will be much better for you.
Okay, practice. We got a few minutes left here, and I think we have to really talk
Yeah.
about this because what we just did is what a lot of people do to beginners, which is go do some projects. It'll be great. And it's like if you're a beginner, you don't even know what that means. Like you don't really know, um, you don't know what to go do. You don't even know what's involved in uh, in a project. And so, one of the things I see people get stuck in is they'll get stuck in getting all of these tutorials, right? They'll tutorial. Okay, they call it tutorial limbo. Is probably the right name for it. It's just you'll never get out of it if you just stay stuck in it. And course limbo. I mean, it's the same thing. Like you get this course and you go through a 16-hour course where you're building maybe 2 or 3 example applications. Still, it's almost as if you're sitting there watching, but you're kind of moving your hands at the same time and you're not really having to solve the problems. You're letting the person who's teaching the course solve the problems and you're copying down what they're doing. And so I would even say that that is not exactly the kind of practice that we're talking about, but there is a way to use those. Now, here's something I've said in the past. I don't know if I've said it on the show or not, but the way that you could use a course that teaches you how to build an application is this. As they're showing you how to build an application, have an idea about something you might want to do in your head, right? And as they're building things, and maybe even like something close that's not exactly the same thing that they're building, follow through with them, cut the video off when do a step and cut the video off and go into your own project and build something. That's actually using the new piece of information that you learned. So if you need to use tutorials, if you need to use courses, the way to do it, and the best course I've ever seen that did this actually did have you build your own project in parallel to the project that they were building with you. They gave you the specs for what you needed to go do in your project after they showed you how to go do it in the project you built with them. That was actually the best. You didn't even require programming. You don't need to do any programming, extra course, programming to have an LMS or anything to make that work. You just write a book about go write this example, go write this app over here, and then you make your videos and say, follow me along. And when I tell you to stop and go work on yours, go work on yours. There's no, it's so simple, yet no one, I've only seen one company ever do it. And it was a Ruby on Rails company. Like it was they were selling Ruby on Rails courses. I think it was called who are they? Let me see. It's been so long since I've thought about trying to find them that I'd have to go look them up. But Pragmatic Studio. The Pragmatic Studio is the company that did this. And it just blew my mind because I was actually just starting to teach people when I took the course the first time. I'm like, that's a really good, I've never seen anyone do that before. This is so good. You got to use what you just learned. And you need to use it a couple of times or you'll forget it.
Yeah. And this is interesting, for example, all fail says here. I started asking myself about certification when I got my AWS Cloud Protection certification. I faced a problem related to AWS at work, and I couldn't fix that. Yeah,
That's a
but
great time.
that's the real life, right? When you
Yep.
say, "Oh, a course is something that is prepared to you to make to work it's not the real life, right? The certification is like, okay, you know how to answer these questions, but the real life, there is no path to follow. There is no
Yeah.
information that you can tip or hint. You can find out. No, it's you and your brain, your knowledge about this thing, and try to figure out the hint, the how can I say, the things we can, the system can show you. Okay, oh, and the error is here, the error is there, like some logs or dashboards or anything else.
Hmm.
So this is the practice we're talking about. We need to. That's why Douglas is saying, "Oh, we need to go and try to build your project because in your project is not following a path that was
Hmm.
prepared for you. You trying to do stuff, and then you're gonna face some challenges that you. Oh, I didn't see that in the course,
Right.
or it's not the same that the course is saying that's said for me, right? So, oh,
The other
these
problem,
small
yeah,
things, other problems. Programming exactly handle problems, solving problems, and how it and learning programming is learn how to make these problems as small as you can fix one by one.
yes, that's the
And this
thing
is
about.
something
So
you
I'm teaching this right now to some juniors that I've got, which is that when you see a problem, narrow it down, isolate and test, get it, just figure out down to the line. Is that the line that you think is causing a problem? Well, stick some actual hard coded values in that one line and see if it does what you think. Oh, it didn't? Well, guess what? Isolate down even more. How many dots are in there? It's like, what can we do to like isolate and isolate until we can kind of figure out what's going on? And that's the real that's actually basically what you spend most of your time as a programmer doing, is trying to figure out why this thing isn't working the way I expect it to. And a lot of times, maybe there's a lack of understanding of the underlying library that you're using, or a lack of understanding of even the code in front of you that you jumped into that you never wrote. And so the reason, the most important skills that I'm trying to get to my juniors right now is isolate and test. Isolate and test. Because sometimes the person who wrote that code before you didn't even know what they were doing.
Yeah. Actually,
I,
that's a good approach, for fixing a bug, right?
yeah. Or
isolate
even
and test.
learning.
That's it.
Hey, what
Yeah.
does that line of
Learning,
code
yeah.
do? I don't know what that does. Well, like put it in a file by itself and run it and see if you can actually, like in Python, Pedro, that's what we do. Like just stick it in a file and run, or open up Python and run it in the interactive interpreter. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
The interactive interpreter is was something that we didn't have in Java. I think we have now,
you do
but
now.
but we still it's not. I think it's not. It's still in the moment that we can do like the same in Python. Right, you can just open it and run right away anything. And
C
this
sharp
is
got there.
C sharp got the yeah. I don't know if the Java one is there yet, but man, it's pretty awesome because I say, oh, I need to test something. Oh, I don't know if this small piece of code working. Oh, does this piece of work works the way I think it works?
Mhm.
You can just open up in something and bright try it and say, oh, this
Try
is
the loop. See if it works. I mean,
yeah.
that's the thing, is that
Try the loop, try
there's
the
stuff.
if, try the details. What if this variable is none? And then you see, this is awesome. Well, I think we're getting in the end of our time.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I
was
think we just
supposed
hit
to
time.
start that. So to finish here, do you have any advice and book or anything that could help our audience to learn some to learn new strategies, to learn new programming languages, new topics, or anything different?
I think we can continue this conversation next to the next time because we still have some topics we I would like to talk.
Let's
And
do
I,
it.
for example, I see what Anders is saying here. For example, uh, uh, he say, "Oh, this is out of topic, but I feel the same is going with hiring process. It's so standardized that people trying to be hired not to do their job well. Man, this
Yeah,
is an awesome topic to talk.
and
We're
we need
gonna
to
need
we
to
need to
have
talk about
more.
that. Like we
Yeah, yeah,
next week. Let's
we
put it
need.
down.
Yeah, let's do that. That's because this is very very important because this has to do on how we learn, right? And how we believe it's correct the correct way to learn, right? because, well, we can discuss that in
Yeah,
the
let's do
next
that.
topic, because this is important, right? But, well, I think it's summarizing what we talked today is that, oh, at least for me, it's uh, we 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 are talking about how we prepare to learn, right? So we have some the ways we can, the channels we can have to learn. We have books, we have videos, we have everything. But at least for me, none of this is works if we don't practice. Even if you try to teach, if you try to teach something and you don't practice, you will not be able to teach. Right? You can try.
You can get out of you know you can actually get to a point where it's been so long since you've done something that
Mhm.
you're just teaching the same thing over and over again, and you don't get the new stuff in because you're out of touch with where things are currently. There's a gap
Yeah.
there. And so it is important, and it's one of the reasons why I would never encourage an instructor like at a coding boot camp to stay in there any more than 2 or 3 years. Like, you need to go back in the field.
Uh-huh.
If you ever want to go back and teach again, if you were good, they're going to be happy
Mhm.
to invite you back. They're going to be even really happy because you went out and got all the new stuff and came back in with your new knowledge back into teaching again. But you should never stay 100% on the teaching side lest you fear, there's, you risk getting out of date.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, guys, practice.
practice. We should talk about what we do for practice next time, although I may not have the best response for that myself. But I absolutely think we should talk about how everyone practices in our next call.
I think so.
All right.
Sheila?
Shall I start with the sharing or?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Shall I start with sharing or what was?
Yeah, let's. I mean,
Mhm.
if you have anything to add, that would
Uh,
absolutely.
yes,
But if
I
you want
think
to,
this book, what everyone knows about, this is actually about how you can learn. This has something to do with it. So this is the problem if you are always distracted and at work, for example, and how you can concentrate and constantly work on something uh, that you want to learn. I'm not sure whether I did. Oh yes, can you see the link somewhere? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, exactly. So it's about how you can concentrate on your work and doing really deep work to achieve what you want. And I found some really good advice in it there. But consistency is key here, I guess. That what you are doing, what you are practicing, that you are doing it every day.
Oh, that's amazing.
Nice.
that looks
I
like a
would
really good
share
book.
Go ahead.
I would share another book. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but it's the Passionate Programmer. And there is a whole chapter that talks about the process of learning and why does a programmer should always focus on learning new things and things like that. So it's a really nice book.
Okay. Well, I have no book to share. Yeah, but there is lots of good materials we can get here uh, for learning programming language. Free Code Camp is one we have discussed it already. But we have good courses here in Portuguese as well. So our latest Java champions are are Java champions because of that, because they shared very good content about how to learn the language. Professor Isidro was one of the
Mhm.
latest ones. So this material is very good. Uh, we have one the Professor Guanabara, who has a very known course about Python here in Brazil, right? So, but they are people who are professors, and they have uh, uh, this knowledge on teaching, right? So it's very good to find this kind of material for people who are more who has more experience in teaching, and they mostly have good materials.
Oh, nice.
Uh, may I add something? Dan is saying something interesting here.
Yeah, I
Just
saw
just
that.
to answer here. Yeah. Dan
Yeah.
say, "Hi, I don't see a problem in seeking a Java certification, for example. If you're studying the language so much, why not?" And he continues, it may not be important for the company, but it may be cool for you. You're just studying nothing more than that. Yeah, we are
I
not
like
saying
that.
that is yeah,
Yeah.
we're not saying we didn't say here that study for certification is bad. We didn't
No.
say that. We said that just study for certifications does not shows you are good in your job. It's what we said, right? But the opposite is not is not true, right? The opposite. If you're good in your job, it's good to seek for a certification. Okay, you're
Yeah.
already good in your job, right? And then you go seek for a certification just to certify that you
That you
was
know.
something you already good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the
I
opposite is the problem.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at too. Is that if you've never been in the field and you get this high end certification, then your certification only means that you could read the information and you knew what was on there. So, again, there's nothing wrong because I actually agree with that concept. If I'm going to spend the time studying something, it'd be really cool if I could walk away from that study time with a credential. You know, that
Yeah,
would be, like a certification of some sort. That's
yeah,
actually not a bad thing. And one that means something with my experience only helps me. But again, we were trying to say that if you're trying to get into a new field, the certification track may not help you. The certification isn't going to guarantee you a job. The certificate of completion isn't going to guarantee you a job. So, again, we never said that certifications were bad, but we said not to use them as like think of them as your ticket. You'll waste a lot of money and time if you think of them as your ticket into a new job. Generally speaking.
yeah. I myself I have plenty of them. I think I have like 7 Java certifications.
Well,
And I say, well, but you don't see me talking about it
Right.
because they don't mean so much. At least at that time when I took it, it was important. Okay, today it is more it isn't. And of course, the most important thing is to know what you're doing, right? And do the job, do a good job. That's the most important part. And of course, if you are good, go and get a certification.
oh, I know that we are
Yeah,
out of
it
time, but
says
we
here.
got a new comments here.
Yeah, we got more comment about it. It does not show knowledge, but it shows that you at least have discipline, proactivity to study for something that is not necessarily easy. What do you think about it?
Can I ask? Well, not ask, but can I state that if someone were to come to me and I had to choose between two people, and this is
Mm.
one person like Python, right? And I'm hiring a junior Python developer, and this Python developer comes to me with a portfolio of actual projects that they thought of on their own. May have been inspired by some other projects, but it was something that solved some of their own problems. And they spent 6 months working on these different little projects that they put together. Or I get someone who comes in with a Python certification that they studied 6 months for. I'm going with the person who put the projects together because I can look at their code and see what they did. Because usually they're it's like, well, let's take a look at your projects and see what decisions you made, and let me talk to you about it. There's interview material in their projects because you can kind of understand how they think when you see their code, and not necessarily to judge their code, but really to kind of get in there and see that they wrote code, they know code. They've learned how to solve problems and narrow down problems and stuff like that. So, from a hiring perspective, I'm going to put a lot more weight on how did they apply? Is the knowledge applied to actual solving problems, or is it all book knowledge that they've got?
Completely agree.
True. And this is one interesting topic to talk on the next session. No, discipline and productivity in the process of learning. Is one of the strategies that we can have. So if you are watching us, maybe
Mhm.
the next week, not actually 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, 2 weeks from
2 weeks
now.
from now.
Yes, will be a nice topic to talk about it. So
Yeah.
keep in touch with that. So
Yeah.
do you have anything else to talk about? Because we are out of time, and I
Yeah.
don't know. So that's it.
Yeah, I would ask. Thank you all for the comments. Thank you all for the audience until now. Uh, we love when you send comments for us because it makes us much more. It makes our conversation much more interesting because it's talking about something you want to hear. This is very very important for us. So thank you so much for every one of you that are here and send comments for us. Please come the next one and keep sending comments, but then we can just getting our conversation better and better.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.